Hey guys, this is Justin at the Survivor Review, and today we'll be talking about episode 10 of season 3 of Ash vs. Evil Dead, titled The Mettle of Man. The series finale of Ash vs. Evil Dead. This is it. It's the end of everything. I was so dreading this moment. I was not looking forward to this. And is this a satisfying send-off to the show? Yes and no. That's kind of the unfortunate thing. I'm really kind of split on what I feel about this episode. Because of the episode still plays out like it would like a series finale. And it still ends in kind of a lead-in to season 4, which is very insane. So on that regards, it's disappointing as an ending to the show. But what we get before that works as an ending to the show. There's a lot of great moments that feel like they're meant for a series finale, actually. And when you get that stuff, it works very well. So I don't know, I'm very split right now on what I feel about this. Maybe it's because it's too fresh in my mind, I haven't let it kind of settle in. But I can say that I was thoroughly entertained with this episode. I did like it quite a bit. The episode begins right where the last one ended. The giant monster Kandar has been unleashed upon the city of Elk Grove. And of course Ash's reaction to that is just, okay, let's run. And they run and they're hiding and they just like, it's just pure chaos. It's continuing off of last week's episode where there's a scene where they're hiding in the alley, just trying to hide from like the monster or Kandar. People are getting possessed left and right. It's just nuts. So Ash is like, let's get back to my house. And they get back to the house, and we get one of the best scenes of the episode, another great like finale moment, where Ash kind of has a breakdown, where he just kind of like just sits down in the chair and just takes out a bunch of beers, and he has this just kind of breakdown, just like you know what, whatever, like I told him so, like whatever, screw this, and then he starts crying, and he's just like why me? Like I didn't want to spend my entire life drenched in blood. He's like I'm just a failure. Like why am I doing this? Like, why me? And that moment is friggin' emotional. It's a great moment of acting from Bruce Campbell. You just see that he's just tired of all of this stuff happening to him. He just wants it to be done with. But then Brandy comes in and puts him in his place and basically motivates him to get up and to fight back, which I thought was great. Brandy, it's another great episode for Brandy. She gets a lot to do in here. And while they're in the house, they see on the news that this whole thing is not just affecting Elk Grove. It's actually going global, because there's a news report from like New York City, and like Deadites are overrunning New York and attacking everybody. And I love that. I love to see like the scale of this, that the scope of this is actually bigger. I mean, you don't really see it at all except for like that news report. But the fact that like they're treating this as like a huge thing and making this like much bigger than the previous, anything that's really happened in the previous seasons is great, and also bodes well for it being the finale of the show, that they kind of went all out and made this like a global attack from the demons, which I thought was great. I love that bit. So they need to think of a plan, because they need to get to the cellar, because they have Kelly's dead body, and they need to bring Kelly back from the rift. So Pablo's like, I have the Brujo powers, they won't attack me, so I'm good. But Ash and Brandy, you need to find another way there, because if you go out in the open, you're just going to get mauled by Deadites. So they find a new way. They go underground, actually. So they go their separate ways. I love the bit where Pablo's kind of like wheeling Kelly's body like outside, and you just see like the scale of this. The town is just completely overrun. It's almost like a zombie movie, where there's literally like a shot where you just see like a Deadite like feasting on a dead body, where it's like straight out of a zombie movie, where the place is just completely overrun, and it's nuts. And I love that, because I love just expanding like the scope of this episode and making these last few episodes kind of very grand and epic in like how crazy things get. So, Pablo and Kelly, they get there pretty easily, but Ash and Brandy's journey isn't so easy. They're walking underground, and we get another great scene, another great series finale moment, where he's talking to Brandy, and he takes out the necklace that he gave Linda in the first Evil Dead, and says that, he's had this on him since then, kind of thinking it's like kind of like a good luck charm, like it'll keep him safe through all of this. And he literally even says that, I can't do this forever, and he gives that necklace to Brandy. And it's a great emotional moment, again, just continuing off of the last few episodes where Ash is a bit more serious. Even I got a little just like, oh man, that's emotional, and I love that scene. But of course, down there, they're not alone, and Deadites come out, and it leads to just some fun fight scenes, which I really like, with Brandy, taking out the Deadites as well as Ash is doing. And they end up getting into the cellar. They find their way to the cellar, to the rift, right as Pablo and Kelly are getting there. Pablo with Kelly, because Kelly's dead right now. Getting there, and they see the portal there, and Pablo's like, I could probably just jump in there and get her. Like, I have these abilities, like, nothing bad will probably happen to me. So that's what he does. He jumps in there, and more Deadites come out, and you get a really cool tag team scene where Ash and Brandy fight off Deadites. Fun action sequence, but of course it ends with both of them being splashed in the face with blood. Classic Evil Dead, fashion. And that was a great moment. I like that stuff. And then Pablo comes back, and he's all just like, is Kelly here? Like, they see the body, her body's not moving. He's like, but I brought her back. And then Kelly wakes up, which, not too much of a shocker there. I kind of saw that coming, back when she died like 3 episodes ago. But, she's back, all is well. But you get the great moment where Pablo kisses her. Like, it's just so perfect. Everything just kind of comes together here, and that thing that we've been, building towards since the first season, that Pablo likes Kelly, finally pays off. Like, it was great. So, they go outside, and this is where stuff gets even crazier, because now the military is there, and you have, a tank there firing at Kandar, and you have, the military there firing machine guns. It looks like pretty big budget. Like, they made it look like they had a lot more budget to it than they probably did for the episode. It looks huge and pretty big. And then you see the evil force come in, possess one of the soldiers, who then starts, firing at the other soldiers. Kelly ends up taking him out, and then taking the machine gun and just starts firing at all the possessed soldiers going after them and stuff in just typical Kelly fashion, just screaming with a machine gun and just firing away. And then one of the other soldiers who's not possessed sees all of them and puts them on the back of this military truck, just get them out of here, we're leaving this place. There's even a moment where they said, oh yeah, we have orders to nuke the city and stuff like that. So stuff's just building, it's just getting nuts. And then we get to the best moment in the entire episode, where everybody gets on the military truck, is about to leave, and Ash is the last one. He's about to get on, but he lets go of Brandy's hand and shuts the door. And god damn, this moment here. And Ash basically says, I have to finally own up to who I am and what I'm here to do. And he says his goodbyes to all the characters. He talks to Kelly, and he's just like, they need a good leader. That's you could be their leader. And he looks at Pablo, just like, you're the jefe now, and stuff like that. And Brandy, kudos on the acting here. She just starts bawling, and it's just like, you promised you were gonna come with us. You promised you weren't gonna leave me. And Ash is like, I'm doing this for you, kid. And they drive off, leaving Ash there all alone to fight Kandar. And god damn, that's a great moment. That's a great, like I said, series finale moment in this episode. It just works perfectly. So then Ash, he comes across a tank, of course, gets in the tank, starts trying to drive it, ends up destroying Pablo's little stand, his Pablo fish and chips stand. But then his idea is he takes a missile from in there, opens it up, puts the Kandarian dagger inside, and, loads it in. And, he approaches him, getting ready for the final battle, goes to fire. It doesn't work. So the giant demon ends up picking up the tank and is, messing around with it. And Ash finally, clicks the button, gets it right, fires the missile right into the demon, and that does end up killing him. And then, he ends up dropping the tank. Tank falls down. Ash is like, okay, I'll be okay. And then the demon just falls, lands right on top of him. And then, okay, here's where things get a little interesting. Cuts to a point of view shot of Ash, all disoriented, and everything's kind of fuzzy. And then you see a body come in, start dragging him away. You do see that they have a ring. That's the Knights of Samaria. And then, just boom, cut to black. And then Ash wakes up. And the first shot you see of him is, above him. Everything looks a little weird. Everything looks very white and almost futuristic-y. And he's in this weird kind of pod thing. The door, opens up. He gets up. He's wearing this weird kind of suit and everything. And he takes his stuff off him and realizes that he has his hand back. It's like a normal hand. But then he, looks under the sleeve and sees little mechanical parts on the inside there. So he has a new, real-looking mechanical hand. Like Luke Skywalker at the end of Empire Strikes Back. And he gets up and everything just is in a weird white room. He opens up this door and then he sees this girl walk towards him. And as she approaches him, he realizes that like her torso is like part mechanic and she's like kind of part robot-ish. And she goes like, "Oh, the chosen one has awakened. Come with me." And they go into this other room, and she opens up this door, and he walks out and looks outside, and it sees that everything is destroyed, and it's post-apocalyptic. And Ash is like, "Oh god, everything is gone." And then the girl just goes, "Not everything." She rips off the tarp, and it's a souped-up version of the Delta, with like a turret on top, and everything's just super nuts. The front of it has a thing that says, "Hail to the King." And Ash is all just like, "Oh, that's great," but he's just like, "What's going on? Where's my daughter?" And the girl throws him the keys, and he's like, "I'll explain on the way." And then we cut to him, like, suiting up and everything. He gets in the car, and then she gets in there, gets on top of the turrets, and just goes, "How do you feel, sire?" And he just goes, "Groovy." And that's how it ends. Holy fucking shit. Like, that's what they were going for? That's what they were going to do in Season 4? Was a post-apocalyptic, just balls out like crazy season? Like, god damn, I want to see that. And that's kind of like where my issue comes in. Like, I don't feel like that really works as an ending to the show. You know what I mean? Like, that's such a crazy out there ending. And it's, I don't know, it doesn't really feel satisfying as the climax of the Evil Dead franchise. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate because, like I said, the first half of the episode, or the majority of the episode, plays out like a series finale. There's all these moments of Ash saying his goodbyes to everybody that works as like a final moment for the show and for the franchise. It's really kind of Ash finally becoming who he's prophesized to be, and that's a great way to end it. So this extra ending here is a tease for the next season that we're never going to get, and I don't know, like, it's just not the way I was expecting, the ending of this entire show, to go. It's almost like ending Evil Dead 2, the way they do, and then never making Army of Darkness. Like I said, it just kind of bums me out that we're not going to get the insane post-apocalyptic Season 4. It's also a little disappointing in that, like, the Evil Dead comics and all that stuff that's come out, like, since Army of Darkness and, like, before Ash vs. Evil Dead, have all gone in, like, crazy directions and done some, like, insane things, and then you get the show, and nothing against the show, I freaking love it, we all know that, but it's more kind of just, like, mundane and scaled back. It's just kind of Ash, fighting off Deadites. Not really going in those wild directions that it could have, because, you can go in so many different directions with Evil Dead. And then the ending of the season finally does that. It finally goes in that insane direction, and we're not going to get it. Some of the complaints with this season is that the first half especially was, kind of more of the same. And next season would have been nothing like that. Kind of moving away from the ending, what we got with the actual episode was satisfying. Although I feel like not as satisfying as a series finale. Like, a lot of the side characters, except for Brandy, didn't really get a whole lot to do in this one. Like, all the cool stuff that Pablo got to do happened off-screen when he went into the rift to get Kelly back. You know what I mean? And then, like, even Kelly, when she came back, she just kind of, like, shot a few Deadites, and that was it. The episode also does move a little too fast, kind of like how a lot of episodes in the show does. It kind of moves a little too fast. But there are some great moments, and, if this is the last we ever see of Ash Williams, which it most likely is, Bruce has already announced his retirement from the role and everything. It is most likely the ending of Ash. And aside from, the cliffhanger for the next season, it does send him off really well. It really does. Like, he finally owns up to being, the prophesized one. And is finally just like, yeah, I'll do this. I'm not going to shy away from this. Which is something we don't normally see Ash, do. So you do finally get that. And on that note, that is a good way to send off the character. It really is. But it did some really great things and, ended off the show on a high note in that, like, this episode was pretty crazy. It went out with a bang, and that's good. You can't go wrong with that. So, that's it. That's Ash vs. Evil Dead. On a whole, Season 3 I really enjoyed. It starts off a little dodgy, like I said, a little kind of a greatest hits of Evil Dead with stuff we've seen before, but with still some very entertaining sequences, like the sperm bake scene, and stuff like that, where it's still entertaining as hell, but a little bit more of the same. But then the last half truly kicks off and becomes its own thing. Like, I feel the last half truly is great, and I love it. So overall, yeah, I really like this season a whole lot. And you know what? I'm glad this show happened. Even if this is probably the end forever. We got 3 whole seasons, like over 15 hours of new Evil Dead content that I never thought we would get in a million years. You know, like, I've always wanted an Evil Dead 4, and I always knew it was never gonna happen. But it did, in more ways than one. Thank you, Bruce Campbell, for actually coming back and doing this. I'm glad he came back and gave us 3 entertaining as hell, you know, flawed, not perfect, but entertaining as hell seasons, and more content with Ash Williams. And just a great addition to one of my favorite franchises of all time. This franchise is really near and dear to me. I love the original 3 films, especially the original. Like, the whole story behind it just being made on such a low budget and it being just this creative, like, great film is hugely inspirational. And, you know, I loved every minute of it, of returning to this world and having more adventures with Ash Williams. And the new characters that we got. I love Pablo, I love Kelly. You know, maybe we'll get some more in the future. You know, maybe Bruce Campbell will change his mind and we'll get another season or a movie. I wouldn't mind just, like, just one more movie in that post-apocalyptic world. But you never know what will happen. But either way, that's about all I really have to say for now. I do hope to do some more videos revolving around Ash vs. Evil Dead in the future. I think I said this exact same thing in my Season 1 finale video, where, like, I want to do some videos with Sam, who is, like, even more of an Evil Dead fan than I am. Either way, we'll still have more Evil Dead content to come in the future. And yeah, that's about it for now. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.